sure I can see them. Like I said, I'm experimenting. Oh, wait, other hand with StreamYard. And it has some functionality. Hello. Hi, Kayana. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, you said you tend to miss the lives, right? That is so funny. Dreamer Gabby. Hello. Hello. So, goddesses, you know that, and Lana. Hi, Lana. You know that I tend to post a video on Thursdays and Sundays. So sometimes it's easier to go live. And I wanted to share with you today about prosperity. And what did I title it? Prosperity. And I've been thinking a lot about paradigms and prosperity. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. In fact, let me know in the comments when you hear prosperity, like what does prosperity mean to you when you hear the word prosperity or abundance? What does that mean to you when you hear that? Let me know in the chat. And there is a little delay, but then it does come through, which is really cool. I can like see it. I have like my little control room here. So it's kind of cool. What does it mean to you, like when you hear abundance or prosperity? Because I recently did an exercise, and maybe I'll just share that with you. Again, welcome to those who are just joining us. We're talking about prosperity and paradigms. So I just meditated beforehand too, so I feel really good. I wrote down, I got out a journal, not like my official journal, but sort of random little notebook. And I thought about, okay, what does abundance mean to me? And, you know, I wrote down things like, for me, I like to get the highest quality food that we can get at this point and on the planet. And I'm sure I have a very educated audience, very smart audience. And I'm sure you know how we're depleting the soil and the different issues with food not even being as nutritious as it would have been, even 100 years ago, right? Because we're depleting soil, among other things. But I wrote down things like organic food, and I pictured in my mind, I pictured myself shopping at my favorite store, a local store, and seeing all the items I would buy. And so abundance, that was one big part of abundance for me, was having healthy, nourishing food, like maybe a little bit of junk food, but I try to get healthy junk food. So let me know in the chat, and I want to see what you're sharing. So let's see. Dreamer Gabby says an overflow of desires. Okay, so an overflow of desires. Okay, explain more what you mean by that, because when I think of desire as the wanting, not necessarily as the having. So I'm curious to tease that out more in terms of abundance, because that is my topic today. Hi, KK, welcome. You're joining Kayana, Dreamer Gabby, Lana, and these are just who have commented. Let me actually pop back over to YouTube, you guys. So I have multiple tabs open. Give me a thumbs up if that is you. Sometimes I have like 30, maybe.
Hi.
20 tabs.
In the next 60 seconds, I am going to show you what I believe is...
I don't want you to, okay, have to listen. I was trying to see over on the live, you guys, and then YouTube, of course, is serving me an ad. So hang on. Great. I don't think I can actually see myself in the live, because then you're like, I'll be like in a weird endless loop. Okay, skip ad. Okay, so yeah, there's a delay, but yeah, I'm live over there. So there are 8 of you with me. Welcome, goddesses. Join in the chat. We're talking about abundance, and what does abundance, how would you define it for you? Okay, how do you define it for you? I was just sharing that for me, and this is important because what I want to talk to you about is how do we attract and manifest the abundance that we want, okay? I'm actually going to tie my mala beads in a knot because I like how they look better that way. So Dreamer Gabby says an overflow of desires. What is abundance to you? Some people are like going to name a car, or they're going to name this type of house or something. So let me know, and I'm going to lower myself. What does it mean to you? So for me, a big part of abundance is just healthy, nourishing food, okay? And that may seem really simple, but as we know, even in this country, I'm broadcasting from America, there are people who don't have, there are things like food deserts. And I grew up actually in the Bronx in New York, in a very, I would say, poor working class area, kind of a working class area. And we did have supermarkets, though. So I would not call it a food desert. It was a working class area that was very diverse. I'm from Jamaica. I've shared with some of you. And so the parents immigrated with me as a little girl from the islands, from Jamaica. I know I don't have an accent, but back to the idea of food. Just food is the basic form of abundance, right? To have enough healthy, nourishing food. Okay. I'm sure some of you would agree, but I want to know what it is for you. And I think you might want to write down, what does abundance mean for you? Like, what does it look like? What does it actually look like to be abundant? Okay. For me, abundance in happiness, health. Yeah. Right. Because, and we all know this, you can have tons and tons of money. You can be a billionaire, but if you have really poor health, you're not going to enjoy even the experiences, not even the things, but the experiences that you could have if your health is really poor. So Kiana, yeah, exactly. Health is super important, super important. And like, that's my main thing. Okay. That's why I started with organic food. So thank you, Kiana. Wealth after dealing with COVID. These are the things I value the most. Okay. Okay. So yeah, she's including monetary wealth because, for example, if you have a certain amount of money, and I want to dive into this more as folks also keep joining. If you have a certain amount of money, even say you have COVID, right? Of course, that's the issue to deal with, but you might be able to order food in quite a bit. Like when we were really in lockdown, you guys, and again, share in the comments if this happened to you. I was living with some friends because they were like basically preppers. So it was really, it was really cool because I'm not a prepper. I'm actually loving the story because it's how my life works and it's how I want to teach you in terms of manifestation. So I'm not a prepper, right? It's just not how I am. I'm very much more intuitive and I flow. So sure enough, I've become really good friends with people who are preppers. And when I needed that, right, that's why I'm laughing. It's like, oh, a pandemic's coming. I happen to have friends who are like ready. Okay, so that's the intuition. That's the intuition. And that's the sort of being in the flow. So anyway, at that point, we would order food. We were just not even going to the grocery store. This is back in like, March, started in March, going through May, going through when it was really high originally. We would just order, we'd get our food delivered outside. I don't even want to, it was really funny in a way. So again, you need money. And that's what that's why I'm doing this as well. You can be spiritual, and I'm sure you all are very spiritual, but we need to acknowledge that money is a positive thing, especially in the hands of healers, light workers, people who are good-hearted. Okay. And I think that's what I want to talk about. The paradigm we have been taught is that money is the root of all evil. Okay. So share with me in the comments if you were taught that when you were growing up. And then I'm going to take a look at some of the comments here. Abundance for me is a peaceful mind. Okay, great, Vicky. Again, that's beautiful because you can have tons of money, and we know some people in public life, and some of them maybe are very private. We don't know them, but you could have monetary abundance and still your mind. In fact, I was listening to somebody else talk about this, where you're going to love this, you guys. It was so stupid. It was just so stupid. I spoke to one rich person, like very, very wealthy. And the person's like, yeah, I'm not really rich, because the person had a private plane. Okay. They had a private plane. They're like, I'm really not, because, it's a small private plane. I mean, it's not like, so-and-so has a private plane. Do you see how absurd that gets? And that's why I love, Vicky, when you said it's a peaceful mind, because even though this person by any standard would be considered extremely wealthy, in their mind, they didn't even enjoy that wealth and enjoy what they had worked for, had built a big company, because they're like, oh, well, my private plane it's kind of tiny. Okay, so that's not having a peaceful mind. That is not having a peaceful mind. So we want all of it. I love this. In fact, I kind of want to write this down. So peaceful mind, health comes to me, but the peaceful mind, I love that as a part of abundance. I really do. because I think that's like really key. A lot of us don't have a peaceful mind. And that's also why I teach meditation. Like most of the time I'm talking to you about meditation, right? Let's see what some other comments. Hi, Sherry. Yeah, I'm glad you found the channel as well. Okay, Kayana Harper, that's funny because my father taught me the opposite. Money is not evil, but yet it is a tool. Well, it's interesting to me you said, but yet. That's interesting because he probably grew up with some of that. And so he was trying to and did kind of teach his children not to have that same belief. Money can be the root of evil if the person is evil and they take evil actions, right? And we look again in the world today, and we see that I think for people who are healers, people who do really good work, they often don't make very much money. And I think we're in a time where that's going to change. I really am feeling that. And my intuition is just spot on as a rule. And so I'm feeling that. And this is in a bigger way. I don't just mean this year, like 2021. I mean, it's going to be shifting where, the phrase, the meek shall inherit the earth comes to me, but where money, the understanding of what money is and the positive uses of it are going to start to happen more for those who are healers, teachers, doing good in the world. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you agree, because that is really what I'm about, and that's what I'm sharing, with this video. Oh, good. Yeah, of course. It's not just a thought, it's a real feeling. I'll give you another big intuition I had that has played out. And I've shared this before. Of course, many of you, some of you are in different ones, and I'll tell some similar stories that you may have heard, but there's always new goddesses joining. About 6 years ago now, I was talking to a friend of mine who lived in another state, and I said, I keep getting this thought and this feeling that specifically African-American women, Black women, we're going to be just rising. That was what I said. I feel like we're just going to rise. And I was telling him I could just feel it. And so this was a while ago, maybe even 7 years ago. There was no objective proof. And then literally, I think like a year and a half later, he said to me, he pointed out all these things that had happened. He goes, "Oh my God, you were so right." Because he's like, I can see it now. And if you just look at even women in politics, and of course our vice president, but this was even before that proof started coming up, because I could feel it. It was like there was a rising energy to support Black women, especially just stepping forward into their power. And I didn't, it's not like I got specific names in my head, but I said, we're going to be more in public life. We're going to be just sort of winning awards and just really shining our light out. And so, like I said, my friend, a while down the line's like, "You were spot on with it." And I'm like, yeah, I could just feel it. So yes. And I think it needs to happen actually more, given so much of what we see going on in the world. And I think for all women, it is, supposedly the Dalai Lama said something like the world is going to be really I don't know if he used the word saved, but he said by the Western woman. And probably because those of us living in the West, we do have to acknowledge that we do have a lot of freedoms that other women don't have. We have more opportunities than women in some parts of the world have, more freedom, more opportunities. Like that's just a fact, even if there are still limitations, right? There are limitations maybe on our pay or certain things that we still, we have difficulty doing. But as women in the West, we do have a lot of freedom. We have a lot of access as well, comparatively, not necessarily where it should be, but comparatively. So anyway, so I want to jump into the paradigm idea. And I brought up, the phrase, money is the root of all evil. I think that because many of us come from a religious background, that has been sort of preached to us. And that can be very hard to break out of. So I'm specifically talking to women also in the audience who, if you look at your income, it may have stayed stagnant. Like, I know that word, stagnant. It makes me think of like like pools of like, it's just like a swamp. It's just stagnant. So look at your money situation. Has it stayed the same? For a big part of my life, this is actually I will confess to this. And this is how I knew it was a paradigm when I had this breakthrough. My income stayed like the same, like, even being self-employed, but it was like within this very narrow range. And that's when I began to learn about paradigm. So what is a paradigm? What do you understand a paradigm to be? Share in the chat. And I'm going to jump back over literally to the YouTube page and just see. So welcome those of you who are watching now. We're talking about prosperity and prosperity paradigms about how much money we can earn. I'm specifically going to stay focused on money, though I want to thank the sharing that we got about a peaceful mind and also, of course, health. Those are all part of abundance. You don't want to have a lot of money, but not have a peaceful mind and not have good health. So that's part of being well-rounded. But a paradigm, as I'm defining it, is basically a belief system or a belief structure that is like a box, like you are within that box. Now, do you think most people think they're in a paradigm? I know I didn't think I was living in a paradigm. It's really, you know what it is? It's the matrix, you guys. It's the matrix. Let's see. And I'll read Sherry. I'll read your comment in a second. It's like the movie The Matrix and the whole series, but it's like, what it means is, so one of the paradigms that I want to point out is sometimes we don't want to earn more than our parents earned. That can be a paradigm, like, especially maybe for men, say if it's with their dad, especially, but it could also be with women. Like if your dad worked really hard and made like 45,000 at the top, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number. When you hit that number, you may feel guilty and you may sabotage, so you lose that job, so your income falls down. Okay. That would be a paradigm. A paradigm controls our subconscious behavior, and most of our behavior comes from our subconscious. Most of our behavior comes from our subconscious because most of our behavior is habitual. Believe it or not, it's true. You don't think about everything you do. You don't think, you get dressed, you may think about the choice or whatever, but a lot of what we do during the day, step by step as you go through your day, which makes your weeks, which makes your month, is habitual. It's habit. And the reason things are habitual and form these paradigms, goddesses, is because the brain actually likes to save energy. Because I don't know if there's any nurses out there, but the brain uses like a crazy amount of energy. Like of all the calories you take in and what you produce, your brain needs much of it, like more of it than you would think. And so what the brain tries to do in its beautiful efficiency is make things habitual. The same way you can just drive somewhere and you could literally be thinking, talking, because you can do it automatically. Your brain understands how you do this thing, and so you don't need to give your conscious awareness to it. Your subconscious can literally drive you where you want to go. And so that's what I'm talking about. That's what happens to us, especially if you feel like your money is stagnant. Your money situation is stagnant. So let me look at some comments. So this can be hard because I'm asking you to kind of look at it is kind of what we would call shadow work. And it can be very, I don't want you to feel defeated by it at all. Because if you realize, wow, my income has been the same for 4 years or 5 years, or I'm stuck in this job that I hate, or you love your work, but maybe it's still not what you're here for. Maybe you have a corporate job and you're working fine, you're working through the pandemic, but you're not happy in it, and you could earn more, and you could also be happier. Okay, so all different ways. Let's see, I'm going to read from Sherry and then Kayana. Yes, I feel that we have to be sisters helping each other to rise instead of in competition with each other. Is paradigm belief systems? Yes. Yeah, paradigm is a belief system. So of course, nobody questions their belief system. Nobody does, because we're like, well, I'm right. It's not a belief system, it's truth. And that's why they're really sneaky, and especially in regards to prosperity. And I think especially for Black and brown and tan women. Okay. My mother used to say, you guys, this is so silly. She'd say, what did she say? Black, white, or indifferent. And, being from Jamaica, you don't question your parents. So I'm like, what does she mean by that? Because I was that type of kid. I am a nerd. So I was like, black, white, or indifferent. So she basically, I guess she thought indifferent was a racial classification. It included everyone else. Tell me I think that was very cute. My mother had these wonderful sayings. All right. If you're from any sort of ethnic background, probably your people have some different cute sayings. And that was one of my mother's: black, white, or indifferent. And that was everybody else. It's like, okay. So we all have these paradigms. I know in some cultures and certain sections of the culture, if you don't become a doctor or an engineer, then you're a failure. Like, you have failed. You become, I don't know, maybe you become a teacher. You could have been an engineer. So each culture and then different sectors of the culture, I think, have their own paradigms. And again, we don't question it. So I'm asking you to begin questioning, especially if you feel like your abundance isn't where you'd like it to be. Let's see. Kayana adds, when my thought process changed, so did everything else. I would always say I'm broke, I have no money, and that showed in my bank account. Now I'm more conscious of what I say. Exactly. So, and that's something I wanted to cover as well. So exactly what Kayana just said. When I talk to people, you guys, and yes, I would love for you to work with me, because that's something that I have a gift for. I can hear in what people are saying the belief system. And so, I have one person who was in a program of mine, and she has like a little business, and I know it's doing okay, but not great. And, I've invited her even like on a scholarship. I'm like, okay, just give this amount, but I want to help you. And again, the paradigm, and I can see it, the paradigm is struggle. This particular woman has a paradigm that's about struggle. Okay. And it makes me really sad, because I'm like, I can see that it's not that the items that she sells aren't good. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like in the outside world. It's her own inner, about struggle and sacrifice and not being good enough. Like, I know, her company could be bigger. She could be making more and getting out there more, but there is something holding her back. It's herself. And I see that actually in a lot of us. Okay, I do. This is not tea, it's water, but it was just easiest for me to get it in a mug. I don't know. I'm a big tea lover, like herbal teas. So I always have like multiple mugs all over the place. So, is that you? Is there a paradigm that's holding you back? And what is it? Start to look at it. It can be the inner child. Check out my inner child videos, you guys. I know I have one. If you join my tribe, you get a really nice meditation where you are connecting with your inner child. And I want to say I made one for the public channel, for the channel as well, for this channel. I've made like 400 something videos. So I don't know. Did I do that already? I don't know. So yeah. Share in the comments if this is resonating with you. So parental program. So dad made this amount. Dad worked in a factory. You work in a factory. If you don't, or you do something and you start to make more money, you start to feel guilty, and suddenly there's a problem with the job, and you start making less money. Again, it's the paradigm. The paradigm can actually work in cooperation with outside events. This is where it does get kind of woo-woo. And I'll share an example of that. Yeah, give me a comment if you're with me, thumbs up, let me know. And if you have any questions. So, for example, a friend of mine, just a really small example of what I'm talking about. The paradigm is within us, but then the outside world mirrors it. And this is very hard for people to understand. It's very hard for me to share it out on the public channel, because it just sounds like, well, that's absurd. Now, but some of you know, they're saying with physics is there's this idea that the viewer actually affects how like molecules or atoms move. Okay, and people like, I think it's Joe Dispenza, and some of them talk about that. Now, I don't know if they're interpreting the science correctly, but I know this is true even without the science. So our inner paradigm then affects the outer world. So I'll give you an example. This friend of mine, for example, and again, this was years ago, but it's a really great example. Like, say they won or they got like a little bonus at work for something they did, and say it was about $500, if I remember. And they were so excited because they're like, this is great, I never win anything. Okay, did you hear that paradigm? That's their thought. I don't win stuff, right? So that was the paradigm. So I was like, oh, that's great. Yeah, wow, you got that. Within like 3 days, their dog got sick, and guess how much the vet bill was? It was like exactly the amount that they had gotten. And they even said to me, it's so weird. Like, I just got this money and I was feeling so good and so like excited. And then and it was like the exact amount, like they got 500 and the vet bill was like $498. They had $2 left. Okay. Let me know in the comments if that has happened to you. That is when a paradigm is at work. And again, I know it sounds weird, like, well, how I understand they could have a belief, but how did, so the cat got sick, like how, I can't explain it, but it's like, did the cat know? And then the cat was against them too. I know it sounds silly, you guys, but over and over it happens. And once you also get to a certain point in terms of maybe your chakras and your meditation, you'll start to see how our belief system is confirmed by the outside. I'll give you another quick example. Let me know if you've had that happen to you at all. And I'm going to check real quick on YouTube. And hey, and welcome if I haven't greeted you, if you're just coming in. We're talking about prosperity and paradigms. And again, this is something that is very hard to listen to. You may want to just tune out because it's challenging your belief system, your belief structure. So even where you are now, could you be more prosperous? That's my question. Could you be more prosperous? So those of you who have done work on this, and by work, I mean writing out appropriate affirmations for you, which is something I work with clients with, and literally every day repeating them over and over and over with emotion so that it becomes part of your subconscious, okay? Because the subconscious, the only way to change subconscious programs and paradigms around anything, but if we're talking about abundance, is to repeat. The subconscious mind doesn't make a decision. If you can get it to accept, then you're golden because it accepts it, right? But to get it to accept, there's a barrier to getting to that subconscious mind. And so repetition is a way around that, like just repeating positive money affirmations. And I do have some videos on that, so check those out as well. So are you with me? Do you have any questions? Vicky, if you're still here, KK, Dreamer Gabby, Sherry, Kayana, any questions at this point? And I want to thank my viewers from around the world. I've got viewers in England. I've got, India. India is such a huge country. Definitely have India. The US, of course, Canada, South Africa are the main ones that pop up. So just thank you so much for being a viewer. And also, I want to say that I did just hit 16,000. And I really remember when I was at like 700 and I was like, oh my God, it'll just never grow. And so to be at 16,000, I want to thank all of you watching this live and in the replay. I really, really appreciate you. So yeah, any questions? Ashley, thank you, Ashley. Ashley says, I'm with you. Good. And yeah, Sherry, very much. Sherry was saying that she feels like we have to be sisters helping each other to rise, right? And there's also the phrase that I love is a rising tide lifts all boats. A rising tide lifts all boats. I do think that is an issue. And I do not have a negative channel. I recently went to see somebody else's channel that I had met online at a YouTube thing, and their channel was just gossip. And their channel was huge. It had like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but it was gossip. And it was negative gossip. It wasn't even like, oh, doesn't she look beautiful now because she's done this? It was just negative gossip. Hundreds of thousands of subscribers. What does that tell you about society? That's my question for you. What does it say? What does it say, right? So I could do that type of channel. And, I am interested in some gossip, but I wouldn't make a whole channel and devote my life and my energy to that. I just wouldn't do that. Is meditation the best way to do that? Okay, Ashley, and do you mean in terms of changing the paradigms? Be more specific, and just know there's a little delay between my whole StreamYard and YouTube. So YouTube's got to get it, and then it's got to bring it over to StreamYard. So is meditation the best way to do that? What do you mean exactly? And let me see, I might have missed her previous comment. Okay. There are some paradigms I'm very much aware of. I'm interested in uncovering the ones that are hidden. The best way to know, that's an excellent question. Actually, Ashley, thank you. Got me right on track too. The best way to know what your paradigms are is look at your life. Look at your life. Are you, a whole different topic, but are you disappointed in relationships a lot? Okay, and what's the constant factor there? You. So that would be like, so look at your life, and your life will tell you what your paradigm is. Again, I know this can be very, very difficult, but you are a spiritual seeker. You are a spiritual woman. My channel, as I always say, my audience that I'm speaking to is women. Guys can watch if they want, but I am speaking to understand the female mind more than the male mind, because I do think we're different. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to Ashley's question. Yes, meditation will absolutely help. Thank you also for clarifying. And then I saw the previous comment. Yes, when you do mindfulness meditation, especially, and I have a video on that as well. Why? And it's called something like, why is mindfulness the best meditation? It is because the mindfulness, your mind is quiet. Chakra meditation is great. And, I have my Chakras for Challenging Times course. Check it out. But mindfulness meditation, where you're either focusing on the breath initially, but then as you get more advanced with it, Ashley, what you're doing is, and I do run a course on this at times, it's like an 8-week course, 6 or 8 weeks, you start to see your thoughts, and you get so quiet. It's like you're like a still lake. That's the best analogy, like just absolutely still, and you can see through the water to the bottom, or like, the ocean, if the water is just really, really clear, and in close to the shore, and there's stillness, you can see what's at the bottom. In the same way, yes, if your mind gets still, you can see the paradigms, because the paradigms are kind of like buried in the sand. They're buried in the dirt. They don't want to be really seen. Okay, so that's a great question. So I would practice mindfulness meditation. I have I have like 10 videos on that. Okay, where you can just practice with me. I have some that are explainer videos, and I have some where I have one where it's just like meditate with me, and it's like 5 minutes. And I have longer ones as well. So, yes. Yeah. The one thing we're not taught in school is how to work with our minds. And I think that's so important. And I even just mean just like confidence. You guys know I was a teacher. I've taught younger kids, but my teaching career was in academia. I was teaching art at the college level. But I was doing museum education, like art education, and I'd work with kids from mostly junior high and high school. We need to be taught how to work with our minds. I know that a lot of like inner city kids, like I grew up, there's nothing about self-esteem. There's nothing that builds them up. There's nothing that says you can be a success, and work with them to really believe that. And I think that's really important for us as women to get out there and do more of that. Teach young people a lot of these skills of working with their mind, it'll make them so much healthier. And there's so many articles now, where they're like meditating in prison and they're meditating in schools, and the kids are like, oh wow, I saw that I was getting really angry, and then they were able to calm themselves down. It's amazing. This stuff is so powerful. It needs to be taught to our children, and also mindset, how to work with their minds, that the fact that they're angry at somebody doesn't mean they have to hit them back or stab them. It doesn't, but it takes training to know how to control the emotions and the mind. So very, very powerful. Let's see, new person, no. Okay. That's all I see. It says no. I've been doing your heart chakra yoga. I feel good doing it, but I feel lost and wonder when it will all change. I feel hopeless. Okay, well, obviously this is a bigger question, no, than a YouTube chat. You may be interested in my chakra course. I would say feeling hopeless means that you're depressed. Okay, and I've suffered from depression. Give a thumbs up in the chat if you have, or just share something with no in the chat. We went down the depression road, I think my last live, for like a half hour. But if you are feeling hopeless, I would see a therapist. In every community, there are free clinics, like in every community. And the one thing I have to say though with that is with COVID and with everything going on, with all the political stresses and protests and so on, a lot of clinics are crowded. Maybe they can only see you once every other week or something like that. But that's what I would recommend, is go in and get a professional who you can share what the hopelessness is about. I mean, that's obviously really huge. So it's not something I can address, in 3 minutes on YouTube. I don't know your name. I don't know anything about your background. I wouldn't just do the heart chakra yoga. Honestly, no, what I would say that I would know would help is I would get to the outdoors and do some sort of exercise, even just walking in the outdoors. That's absolutely going to lift your mood. But as I said, I would get professional support, because I've felt hopeless in the past, and I know that's not a good thing for you to be feeling. So yeah. But any movement that you can get is going to help, because on the physical level, it just gets endorphins. You feel more powerful. You're breathing more. When you have more oxygen in your body, you're not going to tend to feel hopeless like that. They just don't go together. Okay. And so I know, as I've been depressed, when I was depressed, I didn't want to move around very much. If you look at depression and look at what it tells you to do, and you're almost able to do the opposite, as well as get help, get professional support, it will start to shift. So, hey, Kayana's like, no questions. Yeah. So I was just finishing up with no, because I don't want you to feel helpless or hopeless. If you feel hopeless, then definitely reach out to someone who is supportive in your actual life, and also get professional help. Like, I was on antidepressants, as I shared in the live video, and they helped, and I used them for a time. I also believe like psychotherapy, where you have somebody listening to you who knows you every week, is fantastic. Okay. And give a thumbs up if anybody out there, if you have had therapy and found it helpful. At this point, I do want to share with you about, if you want to know more about overcoming your paradigms, because, and I always say this, and it's true, if you could have done it by yourself, you would have already. If you could have done it by yourself, it would have already been done. Okay. And again, that's not to be harsh. Like when I shared with you the story of the young woman who has this business, and I've been watching her and talking to her for maybe like 2 or 3 years now. And I can see that it's her inner paradigms that are holding her back. So if you would like support, and again, you could be someone who's got a great job, but you're not happy there and you want to go out and start a side hustle or start your own business, then also this is for you. I have started a new program. It's called Money Mindset Magic. I love that. Money Mindset Magic. And it's a mastermind. And I put a dash because it's mastermind, to master the mind. And it is just for high vibration women who know they want to make more money in 2021, in this year, and who are going to, and we're going to, so what we're going to do, this is what makes it really cool and different than any program out there. First of all, it's live with me. It's not classes online, like my chakra course has a live component, but it also has like lessons and videos and audio, right? And that is open for enrollment. I'd love to see you in it. We start January 30th, a new group. Okay, so I'd love for you to join that as well. It's all at Yoga Bliss Dance. Let me just share that because I know some of you want to work with me more. Let me see. I've got my banner. Well, I don't have a banner for the In the Flow of Magic, but that's my website, is In the Flow of Magic. Let me create that. And that's where the chakra course is. In the Flow of Magic, because I think we can live our life in the flow of magic. Okay, let me show it. It works. I did it. I did it. Okay, so that's my website, In the Flow, and I hope I spelled everything correctly. So that's where the chakra course is. That the money course that I'm talking about is live with me, and it's basically, like I said, high vibration women, and it's by application. So if you're like really depressed, I don't think it would be appropriate for you. And I also don't want anyone who's like absolutely strapped for money to enroll, because then you're going to be so stressed about it. But what it is women who are working on their business or want to start a business and who want that supportive, like a study group. It's like a prosperity study group. Okay. And that's what that is. So let me put that up. Let me hide this. I'm so happy with my tech, you guys. I'm just like learning this. Let's see. And here, let me show you the website you would go to. So it's Money Mindset Magic. And I have some very interesting women already asking me about enrolling, because it is by application, because I want to know what it is you want to accomplish. I want to know what you would bring to the group in terms of your energy. And so we're basically going to do prosperity study. So I have so many prosperity books, and I'll be sharing you what has worked for me. Okay, now I'm not claiming I'm making $10,000. You know, all those people, hang on, let me go back to the real channel, who are like, make $50,000 a month. You're like, yeah, I don't know if I believe you. Okay, so I'm not claiming that. I wouldn't do that. But what I have done recently, working with my paradigms, is I started studying like Bob Proctor's material and his stuff. There is a lot of free stuff on YouTube. And I joined a group as well, like I invested. And it helped me to more than double the work I was doing, like more than double the, not the amount of work, but the prosperity from the work. So, and that was literally my mindset. And then I took action. Of course, you have to take action, right? This is law of attraction and law of vibration. So I took action, but it started in here. It started inside. I was really focused on what are my money blocks. And I'll share with you, my mom and my dad were working class. My dad was a hospital orderly, right? So he's the guy, in the nursing home, actually. He loved his job. I think he did love his job. And my mom was a cleaning lady in an office building. And she worked with a lot of other immigrant women from a lot of them were from Eastern Europe, and a lot of them were from the Caribbean. And so it was this really diverse group of women. They worked at night. So, I come from a working class background. And so I really wanted to work with my money. I knew I had bad money mindset, again, as well as all outside things that we know are factual in terms of economic realities. But despite that, like I said, I was able to go to college because I just had that belief that I will go to college. Okay, so that was my first successful mindset, and I did some work on that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to share. I have a great story, and I've shared it before, but again, some of you are new and I want to inspire you. So I'm going to tell you, let me know if you want to know my story of manifesting college. Yeah, college and grad school, either one. Okay. And let me know that you want to hear that. So I have done it with me, like in the recent months with studying my paradigms. I've increased the enrollment, for example, in my courses. I shifted how I was in the world, and I ended up like more than doubling the enrollment, okay, simply by working with my inner mindset. And of course, that increased my prosperity. So I'm really excited, you guys, because I want to talk with a group of women who also want to grow in prosperity. And so that's really why I'm starting this program, the Money Mindset Magic. I think especially for women of color around the world, there's not a lot of places where we can really talk about prosperity and do the work, right? So what we'll do with this program is half of the time we're going to be like literally reading and talking about our affirmations and working with paradigms and literally like drilling it, almost like we're going to drill our money mindset. Okay, that's half of each session. And then the other half is very sort of different. I was in a program where they did this, but I added that other piece. We are going to get to work. So if, say, you want to start a side hustle, or you want to build your website, or you want to come up with a new program, or you want to get hired, you, in the session of the Money Mindset program, half of it will literally just all go quiet. We'll all be on Zoom together and we'll literally get to work. And then we'll come back together again and share and support each other, and we'll close. So it'll be spiritual as well as practical. So I'm really, really excited about it. Let me go back and check there. If there are any questions, it is by application, and that is the website for it. Again, for women who want to have more wealth, because if you make more money, you can give more money to charity. You also won't be a drain. That's the other thing. For those of us who are very spiritual, where we see a split between spirituality and money, that's another paradigm. That is another paradigm. Okay, and that's a very difficult paradigm to break, is can you be spiritual and also wield money in a positive way that supports spirituality and spiritual growth, healing, and wellness on the planet? And I would say, yes, you can, but it does take overcoming these ideas that are in a lot of religious traditions about money being bad. And I think it's probably because it was who was handling the money. Okay, who's handling the money? What do they do with the money? All right. And money is energy. That's the other thing. And that I get into a little bit in my chakra course. But I haven't as much yet. That's root chakra stuff, right? Oh, I forgot to mention something. If you enroll in the Money Mindset Magic, that mastermind, right? You fill out a form on the website. And if you seem like a good fit and you're enroll, one of the bonuses is you get to take the chakra course for free. And that's $197 value. That's the cost of the chakra course at this point. In this, it's still in its first run with the first group of ladies. So if you're interested in the chakra course, you might want to sign up for the Money Magic program, which is live with me, like in our private group, live, and then you'll get the chakra course as well. So I think that's a great bonus. I'm going to check if there are any more questions. And great, I'm on YouTube now, so I can see, because not all the comments have come through. Let's see, from StreamYard. Okay. I told you guys, I'm trying to understand my technology here. Listen, a lot of people my age are not even on technology. Not that I'm that old. I remember somebody said to me something about I could be their grandma, and I'm like, wait. And I looked at her picture. I'm being really honest here. I'm being very transparent. I looked at her picture. I'm like, not quite your grandma. I'm like, you know, her picture is like this tiny, you guys. So then I was like, okay, let me breathe. Let me breathe. And I said, you know what? You could call me auntie. And I like that. And so now I have had people write and say, hey, auntie. And I'm like, okay, that's cute. I'll accept that. I can be your wise auntie, but grandmother, no, do not. If you call me grandmother, I'm going to ban you. I will ban you from my channel. All right. Permanently, like permanently, forever. Okay. Hold on. Let me read. Thank you. Okay. Wait. Thank you, Mary. Oh, Mary must have written something nice. Yeah. Okay. Ashley Binning, not perfect, but far more consistent. And the course has helped me greatly. Oh, great. Oh, thank you for sharing. Oh, that's awesome. Ashley, thank you for sharing that. Now, not everybody comes to the lives regularly. The lives are in the chakra course. I would love to see everybody who enrolled. I think it's either 22 or 23, and I'm dyslexic, so I'll never get that right. I think it's 22 women. Come to the lives. If you're in the chakra course, come to them, but not all of them. I think some of them are shy. Like one lady comes, but she doesn't turn her camera on. And I'm always trying to get her to turn her camera on. And one time she had her head down like this. It was really cute. I'm like, come on, we don't care if you don't have makeup on, if you didn't do your hair. Anyway, it was just very cute. It's very, very cute. So Mary, Ashley, Kayana, Sherry D, Vicky, KK, Lana. If you have any last questions for me about this program, again, it's, if you're in like financial straits, then don't take this because the money mindset, because I don't want you to be in a state where you're really stressed about money. You need to kind of get some, I would watch my root chakra videos. I would really work on getting your financial base set right. And then to go to the next level, then, investigate the Money Mindset Magic program. Let me see. Any final questions before I close the live about prosperity and about abundance? So look at your paradigms. Look at your paradigms. Look at your beliefs. I know it's very hard. So instead of blaming the outside, there's some degree, yes, with the outside, but if you take responsibility for the paradigms, that means you can change it. That's what's great about that. And if anyone like you or from your neighborhood has had some success, it is possible. And like I said, I've seen when I've worked with my mindset, amazing things that it can be achieved. Oh, did you guys, I didn't tell you my story. Did you not want to hear my story of how I manifested college? Let's see. Kayana says, I learned by saying affirmations, my confidence has changed. Yes. And Kayana, you're doing wonderful, wonderful things. I can see that shift over some time. Mary says, yes, I suffered from depression for most of my life. When I turned away from media and into nature, meditation, and energy work, I got better. Mary, that's fantastic. And thank you for sharing that for all of the people who are going to see it in the chat. Maybe I'll try to, sometimes I copy the chat and put it under comments on the video. Again, I'm not allowed to say that, and I would never say to anybody, don't get medical help. But for some people, and I think it could be many more, they have been able to, with, as Mary said, she stopped taking in a certain amount of media, right? She turned to nature, meditation, and energy work, and also diet, I might add, and herbs. I'm sure that was part of it for you, Mary. It can be really, really powerful, you guys. In some ways, some doctors I don't blame, and here's why. If a doctor says to someone, oh, maybe consider changing your diet and consider this and this, they can actually get in trouble. Here's why. The patient might complain that the doctor didn't help them, that the doctor didn't give them a drug. Believe it or not. That's some of the stuff just that I found out in terms of being a doctor and the licensure is if they really feel that this person could do some lifestyle stuff, they have to be careful of how they phrase it, because the person could then say, well, they didn't give me medicine, they were pushing this other stuff or something. So some doctors who may want to give holistic advice may be in like a double bind, honestly, because it's that sort of tight. Oh, Ashley says, okay, please share. Hold on, I'm actually copying the chat because you guys had some great comments and I want to be able to put it under in the regular comments under the video after the video is finished. In terms of manifestation and mindset, and this is also why I want to teach it, and so one of my lights went off automatically, is because I am a master manifester, okay? And I'm going to go turn this light on. I'll be right back. It'll take me like 2 seconds. What I did with the manifestation of college, and again, no one in my family had gone to college. My parents did not finish high school. Okay, they did not finish high school. I'm not even sure they started, you guys. You, again, being from the islands, you don't ask your parents certain questions, at least in my era. So in terms of college, I think I didn't even know about law of attraction, but I looked at the college's website, and I also got their brochures. And in my heart, you first, and what I'll teach you with the money mindset magic is it starts with will. You have to use, that's a higher faculty. I got really clear. I wanted to go to this very fancy college. And here's why. It's more like a spiritual, crunchy reason. So I was in the Bronx in like just in a very few trees, just, in the apartment. And I knew I loved nature. Even, at that age, I was like, I just love being in nature. And so I literally, you guys got, those big books that showed all the colleges. I opened that up and I looked and they had a classification, the most beautiful colleges. So very superficial. I said, okay, what's a good college, but it's really beautiful campus. And I've been told by astrologers, that's also just part of my chart, because I am an artist. Like I do need beauty around me. You can see I color coded my books, which I've never done before, you guys. And I love it because it's just more like, and what's funny is I remember books by their color. So I resisted doing that because I'm like, that's stupid. It's just the color of the book. But in fact, I'll be like, oh, that book, oh, it's red. And I can find it because I've color coded. But I chose that college because of beauty. So here's this poor kid. We had no money, you guys. So I'm talking about how I manifested college. We had no money at all. My parents did not understand to save for their children for college. That was not something that was in their understanding. And they knew, since we were so poor, and they wouldn't have been able to save it anyway, at the way things were in their life and with the beliefs and with the skills they had and so on. So I know that was convoluted, but I had to share that. I got this idea of this small, like, liberal arts college in my mind. I love the campus. It was beautiful. And I just was like laser focused. That's where I'm going to go. And I applied and they rejected me. I just remembered that. They rejected me. And so I was really disappointed, but the rejection letter said, look, you have art. I had gone to Pratt Institute, which is an art school in New York, for 1 year. They said, you have all art classes. We're very interested in you, because I actually had really high SAT scores. I had high test scores previously, and I had the 1 year of Pratt. And they said, we're very interested in you, but you don't have any sort of real academic courses. And they said, think about taking some academic courses and reapplying. And that's what I did, again, because I was focused, right? So is it law of attraction, or is it, so opportunities are coming and then you, goddess, can work with it? So sure enough, and again, for a kid, nobody was advising me. I literally, on my own, nobody in the family knew anything about school, anything about colleges, anything about filling out the forms, anything about the whole process. And I said, okay. And I applied to a state school, and I went there for 1 year. And with those 2 years, I then reapplied for the really good liberal arts school. And sure enough, they're like, and you guys, I swear to you, I was waiting to hear back. And there was one day I was just sort of walking around or something, and I got this, like, I felt really happy, and I was like, oh, they've accepted me. And then within a couple of days, I got the letter, you guys, that said, we've accepted you to this college. So I did 2.5 years there, because when you transfer, guys, give me a thumbs up. You transfer, you lose some credits, and like a lot of them were art. So they didn't necessarily take all of them. So I persisted. So I used my will, but I had a very clear vision of where I was going. I had a very clear vision of where I was going. But more magical was the grad school. The grad school, I literally got in my mind a certain amount. I did a vision board, got a certain amount of a fellowship in my mind, because I said, gosh, I did undergrad school. Now, graduate school, I really don't have any money for that. And I don't want any more debt. And beautiful vision board. And literally, I ended up being in a program, an art program, that one of the teachers there approached me, and she said, we have a fellowship. I'd like for you to apply to our graduate program. She approached me, and the exact amount on my vision board, I would not lie to you, the exact amount was the amount that they offered me for me to be able to go to the grad school. I was accepted, and I got this grant. And the grant was the exact amount I had put on my vision board, which I previously didn't know anything about. I didn't know about the school. I didn't know they had this specific grant, and it just played out. Okay. And that was with vision boarding. So we might do some stuff like that with the money mindset magic. I'm not sure. We're going to do more speaking it out, speaking it into creation, repetition, getting principles of prosperity in our mind. And it will most likely be, it's open to all women. So, you are welcome, but especially women of color around the world. I think that we need a place where we can work on our abundance and have sisters supporting each other and just being okay that you want to prosper, because I know, before I tune out, people are like, oh, well, you should be grateful for what you have. Everything is so bad now. You're just lucky to have what you have. Like, there's that sort of beaten down mentality. And so this is the opposite of that, right? Opposite of that sort of beaten down mentality. And that's why it's by application only, to just get the right mix of women in there. So I'm going to sign off right now. And again, if you do end up signing up for the Money Mindset Magic program, you get the chakra course as part of it. So you're able to work through the chakra course over the course of a year. Okay, so it's like that's a bonus, and that's for early enrollment only. So fill out the application on this website that you see on the screen. I'm so proud of myself for like getting this technology together. So, but let's close. Here is to your prosperity and to being defined the way that you would like, whatever that means, whether it's for your kids, having a bigger house. I'm thinking of one of my students right now who has children, and maybe a beautiful backyard for the children to play in so that they can be safe, they can have fresh air. Just seeing that for her, or access to that, So whatever abundance means for you, may it be so. So stay blissed and blessed. Mwah. Be well. Bye-bye.